Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Xinfin Network, aka XDC, so let's just dive in, and let's start with this tweet here from TradeTech. So we do see, we're pleased to announce the appointment of Nils Beiling as Chief Operating Officer at TradeTech. Nils will focus on developing our operating assets, processes, and structures, and lead the way in delivering TradeTech's vision. Now, if you guys don't know who Nils Beiling is, he is also their COO, but before this role, he was the founder and CFO as well. Excuse me. Of TradeTech. But I think that this is just another appointment of another position, I would assume. So we do see over here a little bit of a breakdown on this. So TradeTech, the technology provider for securitization as a service and bank asset distribution, has appointed Nils Beiling to the newly created role of Chief Operating Officer, responsible for implementing the strategic vision and values of the company, as well as change and transformation initiatives. Like it says here, he previously held the position of CFO at TradeTech. The new role is in response to the company's continued growth in the trade finance market and its expanding network of bank and non-bank originators looking to securitize and distribute their trade finance assets. So this is really kind of focused big on the trade finance area, obviously, and it looks like we are going to see a big transformation here from TradeTech, and it looks like they are preparing for the big boom around trade finance. And you might be wondering, well, what that is. Well, we actually have a video over here, so excuse me. We do see our COO, Nils Beiling, discusses the increasing role of tokenization in widening access to trade finance assets ahead of the Alternative and Receivables Finance Forum on the 23rd and 24th of this month. Now, here is the interview over here. This is BCR webcasting. And we do see an interview with Nils Beiling. The exciting thing about tokenization is that anyone can theoretically buy them. These are retail targeted tokens with very low minimum. This really kind of goes and breaks down a lot of things. But this quote here from about like a minute 10 to about like 2 minutes or so is very interesting to me because it is focused on what Xinfin has been doing with TradeTech.
But to your question, yeah, I think what we have seen increasingly is the drive towards digitization and the moving away from very labor-intensive, inefficient manual processes, be that on the side of digitization of documentation, but also other developments like utilizing the blockchain in a way that finally makes sense in this space. And I think a lot of it, of course, is not only driven by cost-saving initiatives, maybe, or the drive to generally improve productivity in this sector, but of course the pandemic also played a role here. No one wanted to push around paper anymore, but had to find a means and was almost forced to move towards a more digital approach. And that's certainly something that we have seen that, for better or worse, these last couple of years really have given another boost to this development.
I mean, these are all exciting initiatives.
And yes, that's exactly the big thing that they even mentioned over here. You know, utilizing blockchain challenges and adoption of the new technology by market players, struggles and opportunities of creating API ecosystems, increasing role of tokenization and NFTs, and widening investor access to trade finance assets. This is the focus to me, at least, around trade finance, is just fully digitizing it. It's a big area of opportunity, because right now it is a market that is plagued with a lot of inefficiencies, as he is talking about, especially in terms of like manual processing and things like that. It's a market that is ripe for disruption, that we've been talking about for a while. And also, if you guys don't know who Nils Beiling is, if you go over to his LinkedIn, you could find a ton of information on him. By the way, funny thing about this is when you look at his experience, he was working for some big names. You could see everything here. So initially, He worked for 5 months at Deutsche Bank, non-performing loans and special situations. He was a senior associate at Whale, which, by the way, this is for cross-border restructuring, workouts, and NPL transactions. Then he was also a director at Merrill Lynch for 6 years, Global Markets FICC, funding trades, complex derivatives, and also special situations. And then he was a portfolio manager at Trafigura. I hope I'm saying that name right. I'm probably not. Then we do see GemCorp, and then also Thames Path Capital LLP. A lot of this is focused on trade finance investments and securitizations. It is also focused on structured trade, commodity finance, a ton of information around the trade sector as well as finance sector that he has learned, has experience around, and knows that this is a market that is plagued with a lot of inefficiencies that need to be fully disrupted. That's why when we look at trade tech up there, connecting illiquid credit investors with banks and other originators and providing them with the technology they need to interact and transact efficiently, portfolio management, securitization as a service, and security token issuances. And yes, this is a big area. If you go over here to TradeTech's website and you go and look at their trading automation, you could read all of this about how it is built for banking. It is a huge area of focus as well. And yeah, it even says say goodbye to spreadsheets. A lot of this, everything around this is to fully, digitize the entire process. But the end process as well, you're going to need XDC in my opinion, because when you look at trade finance itself, you're still going to have that area of full on trade transaction value being derived that needs to be sent and received. So how will you do that without paper documentation? Well, you have to tokenize it. You have to be able to exchange it. This is why NFTs within trade finance is so disruptive. Also, by the way, we do see over here, we're delighted to win the TADS Award, Tokenized Assets and Digitized Securities Awards, for Best of Class Rising Star for our work with XDC to launch Trada, the trade finance-backed fungible security token for investors. So already huge award granted here. That's awesome to see. Technology-wise, this is a huge technological advancement in terms of trade finance-backed tokens that could ultimately disrupt the entire game for not only investors but also the entire process along the way. And again, you do see Xinfin being mentioned here because Xinfin has a vital role within that aspect. Also, I totally forgot to look into the weekly updates. I completely missed out on it, and I do apologize, but we'll get to that probably in a video tomorrow or so. But I also want to mention real quick, the overall utility behind Xinfin is well beyond a few things around trade finance. We do see over here, XDC is the enabler to make the highly complex global trade finance industry more efficient and cost effective. Find out how. And then over here, you could see a lot more that's actually happening. We do see, name services, stuff like that. You could also look into other things around this. For example, you see in global trade and finance, documents are often required to be notarized and authenticated to prevent fraud. This is why the fraud detection and prevention market is now worth $20 billion a year, and this is through chain files. A lot of the stuff that they are doing is focused on trade finance, but you also do see other things like Comtech Gold, Crypterion, CycleBit, Law Blocks, and by the way, I meant to say Crypterium, not Crypterion. Apologize for that. eCoin as well. A lot of this is just kind of centered around stablecoin banking and stuff, but there is a lot around the trade finance area, and also Impel is a big one that we've been focused on for a while. But we do see this expanding. The ecosystem is continuously expanding, which is always very exciting to watch and really kind of see, especially around any investment that you have in the space. I've always said it since day one, when you really kind of look at this market, if the ecosystem is not growing, if they are not making noise over on Twitter, if they are not continuously expanding, doing events, marketing, then guess what? There's really no point. Also, the G7 countries are fully aware and they are getting ready. We do see over here from CryptoNair D, XDC G7 plus countries need to update their laws. UNCITRAL Working Group IV MLATR and the International Chamber of Commerce Digital Standard Initiatives. We do see down here, facilitating widespread adoption of ETR. It requires G7 plus countries who have not updated their laws to undertake the comprehensive examination of legal gaps and enact legal reforms at national and subnational levels accordingly. In addition, G7 plus countries who have undertaken legal reforms should ensure that these apply to all relevant types of transferable record in all subnational jurisdictions. We also do see down here who have already recognized the legal validity of ETRs should consider issuing clear guidance to the private sector to address market uncertainty. In addition, countries should consider updating relevant status websites pages such as the UNCITRAL Working Group, IVMLATR, and the International Chamber of Commerce Digital Standard Initiatives. All of this is really kind of moving us towards digitization. In fact, down here, we do see G7 plus countries who are signatories to the 1930 and 1931 Geneva Conventions on Bills of Exchange and Promissory Notes, and checks should consider the extent to which these conventions prevent digitization of bills of exchange. So they're trying to prepare them for full digitization. I mean, like, this is an area that is going to continue to move extremely fast. We do see down here from Citizens of the Future. This is utility theory. For anybody who doesn't know, hell yeah, brother, preach it. ICC, WBO, leaders of the fourth industrial revolution and trade digitization. Then down here we do see from October 26th, ICC, DSI, trade trust plus ITFA, DNI, XDC, interoperability. A concept I was trying to teach in February of 2022, how MLATR allows supply chain finance ecosystems to interoperate through a common framework. This is going to be mass adoption as well as cooperation between a full-on mass global sector. We do see one interoperable framework is trade trust, an interoperable framework that facilitates the exchange of digital trade documentation, including bills of lading between different digital ecosystems in Singapore and globally. IMDA is working with the SAFACT to build a framework on trade trust to comply with the reliability issues of the MLATR. Accordingly, being accredited with trade trust may demonstrate that electronic transferable records are MLATR compliant. And this continues to go on with a few other major areas. ICC and 17 global industry leaders also co-developed the ICC Trade Flow platform, which is built on the Trade Trust framework with IMDA, DBS Bank, Perlin blockchain provider as well. Now we do see Perlin blockchain provider is labeled here, but on the next major slides, I want to share with you guys real quick what utility theory did put together, and this is with Trade Phoenix. We do see Trade Phoenix over here with the ITFA, all through the entire global DDoC framework, not standard for global trade finance, paperless invoicing plus instant settlement. I do believe that in terms of instant settlement, you will need to source one of the trade tokens that are backed on the Xinfin network. XDC could be a perfect opportunity here for a liquidity source. And then we do see interoperability of digital negotiable instruments, BL as example, and they do kind of fully break this down. I know that this is very hard to comprehend, but all this is in terms of like a breakdown is, free deep knowledge for you all. MLATR is a framework that is set by UNCITRAL RCAP for DDoCs globally, which provides interoperability between SMEs and trade finance companies. It allows the ERC20 Trade Trust and XDC Xinfin official DDoCs to interoperate flawlessly. So this is a big deal. And over here you have the full-on breakdown of everything in terms of United Nations with UNCITRAL. This goes all the way beyond the scope of not only SWIFT, but globally to the UK, to even the TFDI, Anigio, the Monetary Authority of Singapore. Like, this is outreach into pretty much everything, the full-on digitization of the global trade finance industry. Definitely go check out Utility Theory if you haven't already, by the way. And we do see up here from ITFA webinar with Trade Tech and ITFA bringing liquidity to supply chain finance platform through tokenization and digital assets. And XDC will most likely be that full-on source liquidity and token to, or I shouldn't say token, but blockchain platform to be utilized for tokenization, which we already know is proven through their tokenization trial that they did with Trade Tech. So this is huge. I do believe that XDC is extremely undervalued, and I do think that's a very lucrative opportunity going forward, especially if you are a holder of XRP, XLM, etc. This is just another token on my list that I continue to accumulate down in the depths of like 2 to 3 cents. I think that going forward, it's going to be a big opportunity, like I said, and utility gems like this are really ones that shine the most once we get into the bull run. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As is up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this before. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.